welcome to our video on Imbolc, Candlemas, and St. Bridget's Day festivals and celebrations for 2020. Imbolc occurs on February 1st and is a celebration for Wiccans and pagans and neo-pagans as a customary Gaelic festival. Imbolc commemorates the time of the year when traditional farming communities are halfway through the cold winter season. Sleepy, winter begins to sort of slowly wane as milk comes into the udders of ewes, and pregnancy occurs, and faint hits of springtime sprout and bud forth. St. Bridget's Day, also on February 1st, is a Catholic and Orthodox Christian feast day commemorating St. Bridget of Kildare. And she's a Christianization of the Irish triple goddess Bridget. When we say triple goddess, we mean maiden, mother, and crone. Now, in this way, Bridget, goddess of childbirth, poetry, exaltation, healers, and metalwork, was preserved and protected. It's sort of all the way through the Middle Ages, the Dark Ages of ignorant men who sought to do away with the goddess altogether. Now, Candlemas occurs on February 2nd, being the proportion of the year when the Christians celebrate the presentation of Jesus Christ in the temple and the purification of the Blessed Virgin Mary. I'm Pastor Rosemary, the Astrology Angel. I'm a Rosicrucian seer, a biblical astrologer, a Christian psychic, and a Gnostic mystic. And this is a Readings by Rosemary angelic transmission. The disclaimer's in order here. High magic should be used with all mindfulness since powerful forces of manifestation are unleashed. This is intended just exclusively for entertainment purposes only. Okay, now we're going to get to talking about some of the planetary aspects, and we're just going to touch on them lightly, and later on we're going to show you the charts about the planetary aspects specifically. And we're also going to get into the Sun in Aquarius and Moon in Aries. Now, on Imbolc, or St. Bridget's Day, on February 1st, 2020, at 12 a.m. Midnight, and that's universal time coordinated, that's like Greenwich Mean Time. When the Sun is square Uranus, success comes through being fiercely individualistic. Luna will be sextile Mercury, square Saturn, conjunct Uranus, and square Pluto. This is going to cause revolutionary methods for making sure that each person has the freedom necessary to intensely express themselves as their own version of themselves. Venus square Mars, sextile Saturn, and Pluto, and conjunct Neptune adds a goodly portion of mixed signals and confused feelings into the romance. With Mars also square Neptune, insecurities could erupt into a lover's quarrel or lots of lovers' quarrels and fights if emotions are not properly kept in check and properly controlled. Jupiter sextile Neptune inserts a much needed measure of understanding and optimism right into the mix. Saturn conjunct Pluto evokes inner strength, ingenuity, and tolerance, just when these traits are most needed. The astrology chart that we prepared for you this month is for, again, Imbolc and St. Bridget's Day on February 1st, 2020, again at 12 a.m. midnight, universal time coordinated. This prepared chart is calculated from the precise time and includes hourly house calculations. We are also including planetary aspects, stations, natural houses, and horoscope houses associated with planetary placements. Now the Sun is going to be in Aquarius at 11 degrees, 34 minutes in the 4th house, which is similar to the sign of Cancer of hearth, home, and family. Aquarius, since the Sun in Aquarius, is akin to the natural 11th house of friends and reputation. The water bearer's divine tone is I know. Planetary Archangel Michael visits habitation of Zodiac Angel Cambriel. That's Michael of the Sun, and Cambriel, Zodiac Angel Cambriel of Aquarius. Now, the Moon will be in Aries at 29 degrees, 46 minutes. In the 7th house, which is analogous to the sign of Libra, the scales, of law and commitment. Aries, because Moon in Aries, is similar to the natural 1st house of self and appearances. The Ram's divine tone is I am. Planetary Archangel Gabriel is going to visit the dwelling of Zodiac Angel Melchiel, since Gabriel is the planetary archangel of the Moon, and Melchiel, the Zodiac Angel of the sign of Aries. Now we're going to have Mercury in Aquarius at 25 degrees, 58 minutes in the 4th house, which is akin to the sign of Cancer, the crab of hearth, home, and family. Aquarius, Mercury in Aquarius, is analogous to the natural 11th house of friends and reputation. The water bearer's divine tone is I know. Now the planetary archangel, Raphael for Mercury, visits the abode of zodiac angel Cambriel of Aquarius. So Raphael is the planetary archangel of Mercury, and also happens to be the elemental archangel of all the air signs, of which Aquarius is fixed air, or air of air. So Raphael is very busy during this Mercury in Aquarius on the 1st of February. Okay, now next we're going to go to the planet Venus. Venus is going to be in Pisces, and Venus is going to be at 21 degrees, 55 minutes in the 5th house, which is similar to the sign of Leo, of children and creativity. Pisces is akin to the natural 12th house of spirituality, because we have Venus in Pisces again in the 5th house. And the fish's divine tone for Pisces is I believe. I believe. Planetary archangel Anael visits habitation of zodiac angel Int'l of Pisces and Anael of Venus. Next we have Mars in Sagittarius at 19 degrees 23 minutes in 2nd house, which is analogous to the sign of Taurus, the bull, of money and possessions. Sagittarius is similar to the natural 9th house of life, path, meaning. The archer's divine tone is I perceive. Planetary seraphim Samael visits dwelling of zodiac angel Adnachiel of Sagittarius and the seraphim Samael for Mars. Jupiter in Capricorn at 13 degrees 40 minutes in the 3rd house, which is akin to the sign of Gemini, the twins of transportation and communication. Capricorn, the goat, is analogous to the natural 10th house of social standing and fame and popularity. Now the goat's divine tone is I use. Planetary archangel Sachiel of Jupiter visits the abode of zodiac angel Haniel of Capricorn. Saturn will be in Capricorn at 25 degrees 2 minutes in the 3rd house, which is similar to the sign of Gemini, the twins of transportation and communication. Capricorn, Saturn in Capricorn, is akin to the natural 10th house of social standing and fame. The goat's divine tone I use or I utilize. Planetary archangel Cassiel of Saturn visits habitation of zodiac angel Hanael of Capricorn. Then we have Uranus and Taurus at 2 degrees 50 minutes, that's 50 minutes, in 7th house, which is analogous to the sign of Libra, the scales of law and commitment. Taurus is similar to the natural 2nd house of money and possessions. The bull's divine tone is I have. Planetary archangel Ariel, that's A-U-R-I-E-L, Ariel, visits dwelling of zodiac angel Asmodel, that's Asmodel for Taurus and Ariel for Uranus. All right, Ariel, A-U-R-I-L, for the planet Uranus, and Taurus Asmodel. Now Neptune will be in Pisces at 17 degrees 4 minutes in the 5th house, which is akin to the sign of Leo, the lion of children and creativity. Pisces is analogous to the natural 12th house of spirituality. The fish's divine tone is I believe. Planetary archangel Asariel visits the abode of zodiac angel Amnitziel. That's Asariel for Neptune, and for Pisces it's Amnitziel. Pluto will be in Capricorn at 23 degrees 24 minutes in the 3rd house, which is similar to the sign of Gemini, the twins of transportation and communication. Now Capricorn, Pluto in Capricorn, is akin to the natural 10th house of social standing and fame or popularity. The goat's divine tone is I use or I utilize. Planetary archangel Azrael of Pluto visits habitation of zodiac angel Hanael of Capricorn. Capricorn, the goat. Now the North Node is still at this time retrograde in Cancer, the crab, at 6 degrees 35 minutes in the 9th house, which is analogous to the sign of Sagittarius of life, path, meaning. Cancer is similar to the natural 4th house of hearth, home, and family, and the crab's divine tone is I feel. Planetary angel Gabriel rules over Luna, and zodiac angel Muriel presides over the sign of Cancer, the crab. The moon rules over the sign of Cancer, the crab, as well. In this retrograde station, there's often nostalgic or unresolved feelings which might need to be revisited for a further nurturing and a continued healing. Cancer the Crab is a nurturing sign, so make sure that you nurture those qualities in yourself that you wish to cultivate for health and happiness, while ignoring attributes in yourself that do not give you what you truly want in life. Now, the hourly astrology house calculations can change more frequently. We chose 12 a.m. midnight, that's universal time coordinated for our hourly house calculations on February 1st, 2020. Hourly house calculations reveal 9th house qualities of life path meaning akin to the sign of Sagittarius, mutable fire, the archer for the North Node. This places the South Node of the Moon in the 3rd house with attributes analogous to the sign of Gemini, the twins, mutable air of transportation and communication. Okay, now the monthly zodiac natural horoscope house calculations. When referring to this month's placement of North Node and South Node, being that the North Node in Cancer and the South Node in Capricorn, it becomes important for individuals to attempt to put more emphasis on practical usage of their own feelings or the feelings of others for purposes of socio-economic climbing up the ladder of success for the purpose of gaining fame and notoriety, popularity, and clout. Okay? Now, Cancer is analogous to the natural 4th house of hearth, home, and family, while Capricorn is similar to the natural 10th house of social standing and fame. South Node placement is in the sign of Capricorn the Goat, whose divine tone is I use. The North Node being Cancer the Crab and the divine tone of I feel. The North Node represents an individual's path in this current incarnation. North Node in the current incarnation. And the South Node corresponds to one's past incarnations. And with the sign of Capricorn being the placement, it becomes more evident when we consider the divine tone of Capricorn, which is I use. The astrological formula for Capricorn the Goat, South Node, past life with a divine tone of I use, and a Cancer the Crab, North Node, present incarnation with the divine tone of I feel, is that a person who knows how to utilize people and creatures, both flora and fauna, for either personal or organizational gain, begin to understand and sympathize with others when considering relationships between what is self and what is not self. This comprehension explains what a monad is in the teachings of Kabbalah regarding the monad teaching of Kabbalah. Now, this concept was explained by Dion Fortune, authoress of The Mystical Kabbalah. It's a book, The Mystical Kabbalah, a book she wrote, which was first published in England in 1935 and then reprinted by Samuel Weiser Inc. in 1984. Now, something else that's important here is we want to go over now for you, not just the nodes like we did, but also the planetary aspects, and also we're going to look at the ascendant. Okay, so you understand why this month one of the conjunctions is in the same house but not in the same sign. Okay, and we're going to go over that with you now. Okay, and we're going to pull this in a little closer for you. Okay. Now, we had just mentioned for you that up here on this chart, we have the North Node retrograde here in the sign of Cancer, and that's the present incarnation, the life you're in now. Okay, and that's for the natural house. The hourly house was in different aspects, but the South Node here is in Capricorn, retrograding in Capricorn. Now, also the ascending here is in Libra on the 1st at 12 a.m. midnight. The ascendant is in Libra, and it's in Libra at 28 degrees 29 minutes. So that puts it here almost to the end of Libra. And so please note that the ascendant does not line up exactly with Leo. As a matter of fact, it's almost to the end of Libra. It does not line up exactly with Libra. It's almost to the end of Libra. So it's ascendant in Libra at 28 degrees 29 minutes. And that's the 12th house, that goes, it's going to stretch from 8 degrees Libra all the way to 28 degrees Libra. So the 12th house from 8 degrees Libra to 28 degrees Libra. And the first house encompasses from 28 degrees Libra, okay, all the way to 25 degrees Scorpio. That's the first house. From 28 degrees Libra to 25 degrees Scorpio. That's the first house. So you see how the two planets can be in the same house, but not necessarily in the same sign. They usually are in the same sign, but not always, okay? So that's why. Now, conjunctions are based on two planets being in the same house, which often lands them in the same zodiac sign, although in this instance it's not the case in the when we get to the, I believe it's the 7th house. It's not the case there either. Okay, now to get to the other aspects, and we'll get to these conjunctions when we do this. The Sun here in Aquarius, Sun in Aquarius is going to be square the planet Uranus. The planet Uranus here in Taurus, okay? And the square is on the red line there. And this chart will be there for you to see on my blog, plus these aspects. It will be on my blog, Pastor Rosemary, the Astrology Angel, and it's at the Astrology Angel on Facebook. So you can see it. It's in the description box. You can click on it and go right to it. Okay? So now we're going to get to the lunar aspects. So we have the moon here. The moon is in Aries, okay? Moon in Aries. And the moon in Aries here is going to be sextile Mercury on the green line, sextile Mercury in Aquarius, okay? And the moon is also going to be square on the red line. It's going to be square Saturn in Capricorn on the red line. The moon is going to be conjunct Uranus. Now, Uranus is in Taurus and the moon is in Aries. However, they are in the same 7th house. They are in the 7th house, okay? I wrote 7th house here, so when you see my chart, you can understand it, okay? So that's a conjunct where it's not in the same sign, but it is in the same house. And the moon is also going to be, the moon in Aries is also going to be square on the red line, Pluto here in Capricorn. And Mercury is also, Mercury in Aquarius is going to be on the green line, sextile the moon in Aries on the green line. Next, we're going to look at Venusian aspects and planetary aspects of Venus. Okay, we have Venus. The planet Venus is here in Pisces, the fish, and it's going to be square Mars on the red line in the sign of Sagittarius, okay? And Venus is going to be, Venus here in Pisces is going to be sextile on the green line, Saturn in Capricorn. And Venus here in Pisces is conjunct Neptune in the 5th house. They're also both in Pisces. They're both in the 5th house, and they're both in Pisces, the fish. And then we have Venus in Pisces, sextile on the green line, Pluto here in Capricorn. Then we have Mars in Sagittarius on the red line. We have Mars square Venus in Pisces. And we have Mars here in Sagittarius, Mars square on the red line, Neptune in Pisces, okay? And we're going to look at Jupiter is going to be next, the Jupiterian aspects. Now, Jupiter here in Capricorn, sextile on the green line, Neptune in Pisces. We also have Saturn. Saturn here in Capricorn is going to be square on the red line, the moon, and the moon here on the red line in Aries, okay? Moon in Aries. So we're going to have also Saturn here in Capricorn. And Saturn is going to be sextile on the green line here, Venus in Pisces. And Saturn here in Capricorn is also going to be conjunct Pluto, also in Capricorn, also in the 3rd house. So Pluto and Saturn are both here in Capricorn and both in the 3rd house, okay? All right. So that's another one of those situations where they are in the same house, and they are in the same sign. Now, we're going to have Uranus, the Uranus here in Taurus, square on the red line, the Sun in Aquarius. And Uranus conjunct the Moon, so we have Uranus in Taurus is conjunct or in the same house as the 7th house as the Moon in Aries. So the 7th house, they're both within the parameters of being in the 7th house, with Uranus being in Taurus and the Moon being in Aries. So again, I've written these down here so you can see it. So that in that case, it's in the same house but not in the same sign. Okay, so that does happen. It doesn't happen that often, but it does happen. Now Neptune conjunct Venus. So we have Neptune in Pisces in the 5th house, conjunct Venus in Pisces in the 5th house. Both Venus and Neptune are in Pisces, and both Venus and Neptune are in the 5th house. Now Neptune square Mars. We have Neptune in Pisces, square on the red line, Mars on the red line, Mars in Sagittarius. So we have again Neptune in Pisces, square on the red line, Mars in Sagittarius. And we have Neptune in Pisces on the green line. It's sextile Jupiter in Capricorn. And we have Pluto here in Capricorn. It's Pluto in Capricorn square, Pluto in Capricorn on the red line, square the Moon in Aries. And we have Pluto in Capricorn, sextile on the green line, Venus in Pisces. And we have Pluto conjunct Saturn, both in Capricorn and both together in the 3rd house. So Pluto and Saturn together in the 3rd house and together in Capricorn, the sign of Capricorn, the goat. Now, regarding the progression of the equinoxes, that debate, seasonal considerations must be taken into account, but also due to environmental considerations as well as changes in cultural traditions of the application of doctrine, okay, strict doctrine, to astrology and astronomy brought on by both secular and religious upheavals. Now, please refer to references found in the work entitled Imperatrix, a medieval treatise on astral magic, magic in history, translated by Dan Int'l and David Parecha. Therefore, current Western astrological calculations and Earth-centric systems are just as accurate and viable as solar-centric systems. Having charts done in Western, Vedic, and Chinese astrology gives several aspects of God's great clock. Information found in this document is based, and in this video, is based on the oral tradition known as Kabbalah, taught to me by Rosicrucian clergy when I was but a young girl, the facts of which I have committed to memory. Thank you for joining us, and please join us again.